Listening is an art, and it's time we put in the practice. These 14 lessons are meant to keep you grounded in the idea that communication is a two-way street. When you master the skill of listening, you'll find clearer paths to understanding, deeper relationships, and a more enriched life. Lesson 1. The 2 ears principle. You've heard it all your life. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. This age-old saying highlights the importance of listening more than talking. From a young age, we are conditioned to share our thoughts, our opinions, our experiences. While this is valuable, it's essential to remember that listening is equally, if not more, important. Listening allows for greater understanding and appreciation of others' perspectives. When you engage with someone, you're not just gathering information, you're building a connection, and that's where true communication happens. By actively choosing to listen, you're opening yourself up to a world of knowledge and insight that's often overlooked when we're too caught up in our own narratives. Think about it. In conversations, how many times have you found yourself just waiting for your turn to speak instead of genuinely absorbing what the other person is saying? It's a common trap. By shifting your focus to listening actively, you'll often find that you learn something valuable, or perhaps even shift your own perspective. Remember, every conversation is a potential opportunity for growth. One practical way to embrace this principle is to practice mindfulness. When someone is speaking, be fully present. Notice your thoughts trying to wander off or your impulse to interject. Acknowledge those thoughts, but gently bring your focus back to the speaker. The intent isn't just to hear the words, it's to understand and engage deeply with them. Practical tip. Next time you find yourself in a conversation, consciously remind yourself of the 2 ears, 1 mouth rule. Aim to listen more than you speak, and see how the conversation unfolds. Lesson 2. Knowledge is gold. In the realm of communication, knowledge truly is power. Every person you meet holds a unique set of experiences, insights, and observations. By listening carefully, you tap into that wealth of knowledge. There's a famous quote that goes, "The more I read, the more I acquire, the more certain I am that I know nothing." This rings true for personal interactions as well. Through active listening, you continuously learn. When you enter a conversation with an open mind, you can discover new perspectives you hadn't considered before. This is especially important in today's continuously changing world. Fresh ideas come from unexpected places. By cultivating the habit of listening, you position yourself to gain insights that could inform your decisions, challenge your beliefs, or inspire you to take new actions. Moreover, when people feel heard, they're often more willing to share deeper thoughts and valuable insights. You might discover a hidden talent, a unique strategy for problem solving, or even common ground that strengthens your connection. Consider the setting of a workplace. In meetings, those who actively listen often bring back crucial information or innovative ideas to the table. They can synthesize thoughts and build upon them, leading to more effective discussions and teamwork. So instead of dominating the conversation, focus on creating a space where everyone feels comfortable sharing their knowledge. Practical tip. Try to engage in conversations where your goal is to learn, not just to contribute. Ask open-ended questions and let the person unfold their story. Lesson 3. Trust is earned. Building trust is fundamental to any relationship, whether personal or professional. When you listen actively, you demonstrate that you value the other person's thoughts and feelings. This act alone can lay the groundwork for a solid foundation of trust. Think about the people in your life whom you feel comfortable sharing your innermost thoughts with. Chances are those individuals are great listeners. Listening doesn't just mean hearing words. It's about validating someone's feelings and showing genuine interest. It's both a skill and a sign of respect. When someone feels heard, they are more likely to view you as trustworthy. They'll feel appreciated and understood, creating a more profound bond between you two. On the flip side, if someone constantly interrupts or seems disinterested when you speak, it breeds frustration and can erode trust. People want to know their opinions matter. If you take the time to listen, not only will you build trust, but you'll also encourage them to do the same. In situations of conflict or disagreement, actively listening can help de-escalate tensions. When both parties feel understood, they're less likely to become defensive. Instead, you can work toward a mutually agreeable solution. Thus, trust fosters smoother communication, which is crucial for collaboration and consensus. Practical tip: make it a point to consciously reflect on the conversations you have throughout your day. Ask yourself how well you listened and if you created an environment of trust. Lesson 4. Less drama, more clarity. Conversations can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or heated disagreements. One major contributor to this chaos: talking too much without listening carefully enough to what's being said. When you habitually interject your thoughts without truly processing what the other person communicated, you miss out on vital context and clarity. Imagine trying to collaborate on a project with someone while both of you are too busy sharing your opinions without listening. Frustration builds, and you might even end up going around in circles without a clear resolution. On the contrary, if you aim to listen before responding, the conversation can pivot towards clarity and understanding. Active listening allows you to catch nuances, address concerns, and dispel assumptions. It also enables you to ask questions that clarify points of confusion. The goal is to seek understanding rather than to win an argument or make your point heard. Cultivating clarity through listening also requires you to stay calm and composed. If emotions start to rise, take a moment to breathe and ground yourself. Responding thoughtfully rather than reactively can prevent unnecessary drama and foster a more constructive dialogue. Practical tip: in your next discussion, consciously set an intention to clarify points before contributing your own. Ask questions like, "Could you help me understand what you mean by that?" Lesson 5. The power of reflection. It's not enough just to hear what someone says. You also need to take a moment to reflect on it. Reflection is a powerful tool that enhances understanding and retention of the conversation. When you actively listen and then take a moment to process the information, you're making connections in your brain that can lead to deeper insights. Imagine being in a meeting where ideas are tossed around like confetti. Instead of leaping in with your own thoughts immediately, take a moment to digest everything that's been said. This pause not only allows you to formulate a more measured response, but also demonstrates consideration for the contributions of others. Reflecting also helps you to identify your biases and reactions. You may notice initial judgments or emotional triggers arising, giving you a chance to assess them before sharing your thoughts aloud. This can lead to more grounded conversations and reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings. Additionally, when you reflect on what others have communicated, it enables you to build on their ideas, find common ground, and synthesize thoughts into an informative discussion. This is the essence of meaningful dialogue. Practical tip: practice the art of reflecting. After conversations, take some time. Maybe even jot down thoughts or insights from the discussion. This small practice can deepen your understanding and enhance future conversations. Lesson 6. Ask smart questions. Questions are the lifeblood of engaging conversations. When you listen more, you create unique opportunities to ask questions that delve deeper into the other person's thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This is where the magic happens. Thoughtful, open-ended questions can reveal layers of understanding that might otherwise remain hidden. Asking questions not only shows that you're engaged, but also encourages the other person to think critically about their own insights. For instance, instead of assuming you know their perspective, you might say, "What led you to that conclusion?" Or, "Can you tell me more about your experience with that?" Every inquiry you make serves a dual purpose. It deepens your understanding and demonstrates your genuine interest in the conversation. This approach also invites a dialogue rather than a monologue, turning the conversation into a more collaborative exploration of ideas. Additionally, don't shy away from empathetic questions. Asking about feelings, "How did that make you feel?" can invite vulnerability and trust, deepening the connection between you two. Practical tip: make it a habit to prepare questions in advance, especially for important discussions. This basic preparation can help you engage more actively and deepen your conversations. Lesson 7. Silence is golden. Silence can be a powerful tool in conversation. While we often feel the urge to fill the gaps with chatter, embracing silence can yield deeper insights. When you allow for moments of quiet, you give the other person space to think and express themselves more fully. Think about the last time you spoke with someone and there was a pause. Did it feel awkward? Instead of rushing to fill the silence, embrace it. Sometimes it's in those quiet moments that stronger reflections and more profound ideas arise. Additionally, using silence strategically allows you to show genuine interest. It communicates your willingness to listen and understand without interruption. The other person may take that moment to delve deeper into their thoughts or share things they wouldn't have otherwise. In situations of conflict, silence can also be a calming influence. Rather than immediately responding to a heated comment, pausing gives you time to reflect and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Practical tip: practice sitting in silence for a minute or two during conversations, especially when you're tempted to speak. Notice how that change influences the dialogue and the depth of discussion. Lesson 8. Empathy in listening. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. In the realm of listening, empathy plays a crucial role. The way to make someone feel understood is to truly listen to their experiences from their perspective, not yours. To cultivate empathy, you must set aside your biases and preconceptions. When someone shares their story, take the time to consider their feelings and the context of their narrations. This helps to create a deeper connection and allows for more meaningful communication. Active listening does not solely involve processing words. It also means tuning into the speaker's emotions, body language, and tone. For instance, if someone is sharing a challenging experience, instead of jumping in with advice, you could say, "That sounds really tough," which validates their feelings. This encourages a more supportive environment. When you approach conversations with empathy, you build rapport and trust, making the speaker feel safe to open up and share even more. Practical tip: practice empathic listening by reflecting back what you hear. Use phrases like, "It seems you felt," to articulate your understanding of their perspective and emotions. Lesson 9. Stay present. In today's fast-paced, tech-driven world, it's easy to get distracted during conversations. Staying present is vital for effective listening. Engaging fully means putting away your phone, making eye contact, and being mentally available for the discussion without letting your mind wander. Practice being present by consciously bringing your attention back whenever you find it slipping away. This can be done through mindfulness techniques. Take a deep breath and focus on the other person's words, tone, and nonverbal cues. Being fully present isn't just about hearing words, it's about resonating with the emotions behind them. When people feel your attention, the conversation transforms. They can sense your genuine interest and are likely to reciprocate, leading to a deeper exchange of ideas. When you practice staying present, you also create a more comfortable environment for the other person. They'll appreciate your attentiveness and may be more willing to share their thoughts openly. Practical tip: set reminders in your daily life to check in with your presence, before a meeting, before a call with a friend, etc. This simple act can enhance the quality of your interactions dramatically. Lesson 10. Avoid jumping to conclusions. How often do we hear only the first few words of a statement and jump to conclusions? This can lead to misunderstandings and tension. Avoiding this habit is crucial for effective communication. Instead of making assumptions, commit to hearing through to the end of the person's thoughts. Jumping to conclusions often stems from bias or preconceived notions based on previous experiences. Recognize when this happens, acknowledge it, and take a step back. Allow the speaker to share their complete viewpoint before forming your opinion. Active listening requires you to resist the urge to respond before fully understanding the situation. Sometimes the most profound insights come from a different perspective than your own. Keeping an open mindset allows you to challenge your assumptions and learn from others. When you listen first, you foster an environment where everyone can share openly and freely without the fear of being judged prematurely. Practical tip: practice mindfulness to enhance your awareness of your thoughts. The next time you catch yourself jumping to a conclusion, remind yourself to pause and hear the person out. Lesson 11. Listen, then respond. How many times have you found yourself preparing to respond while the other person is still talking? It's easy to slip into this pattern, but responding thoughtfully requires patience. Take the time to listen actively, hold your thoughts, and then respond. When you listen first, you gain a clearer understanding of the other person's message and emotion. This thoughtful approach often leads to more meaningful and respectful exchanges. In emotional conversations, it's essential to allow the other person the opportunity to express themselves completely. Only then can you articulate a response that reflects their needs and perhaps even surprise them with your depth of understanding. Establish a habit of summarizing what you've heard before sharing your thoughts. For instance, saying, "So what I hear you saying is," can clarify your understanding and help guide your response. Practical tip: during discussions, consciously remind yourself to hold back your response until the other person has finished. Reflect on their words for a moment before contributing to the dialogue. Lesson 12. Check your ego. When engaging in conversation, we often come with an agenda. We want to be heard, showcase our knowledge, or make our points known. However, this can inhibit genuine communication. It's essential to check your ego at the door and create a space where listening takes precedence over showcasing yourself. Ego often leads to defensiveness. If you perceive a challenge to your beliefs or experiences, your instinct may be to jump in and rebut. Instead, remind yourself that there's a fine balance between sharing and dominating the conversation. Active listening requires you to step back and foster an environment of open dialogue. When you prioritize listening over the desire to be right, you allow the conversation to flow in a more constructive direction. By embracing vulnerability, you invite other participants to open up, fostering mutual understanding and cooperation. Reflect on how often your ego affects your interactions. Recognizing this habit is the first step in making a change. Practical tip: practice self-awareness by checking in with your motivations before entering conversations. Are you aiming to win an argument or actually connect with the other person? Lesson 13. Practice active listening. Active listening is more than just a passive act. It requires your full engagement. It encompasses not only the auditory reception of words, but also the emotional understanding of the person behind those words. You can practice active listening by incorporating verbal cues like "I see," and "that makes sense," to show you're engaged. Non-verbal cues are equally important. Maintain eye contact, nod your head, and lean slightly forward to demonstrate your attentiveness. Encourage dialogue by summarizing or reflecting on what has been shared. This communicates not just that you've heard, but that you are truly valuing the exchange. Active listening can transform the dynamic of your interactions. It shows you respect the speaker's opinion, regardless of whether you agree or not. People are more likely to respond positively and openly when they feel appreciated. Practical tip: in every interaction, remind yourself that listening is an active process. Challenge yourself to eliminate distractions and engage fully in the conversation. Lesson 14. Lead by example. When you adopt a listening mindset, you have the power to influence those around you. By choosing to talk less and listen more, you create a ripple effect. Those you engage with will likely adopt your approach in their interactions. Leading by example fosters a culture of listening, empathy, and respect. In professional environments, this can lead to more effective teamwork, innovative problem-solving, and a shared sense of purpose. Personal relationships also flourish in an atmosphere of genuine listening. Friends and family members will feel secure discussing their thoughts and challenges, knowing that they will be heard. This doesn't just apply to conversations with individuals. It can extend to group environments where you model the behavior you wish to see. Encourage moments of silence for reflection and lead discussions by asking engaging questions that prompt deeper thinking. Promoting a listening culture takes intention and practice, but the rewards are worth the effort. Practical tip: make it a practice to consciously adopt a listening approach in group situations. Start meetings or gatherings by reminding everyone about the value of listening before talking. By integrating these 14 lessons into your daily life, you'll become a more effective communicator and a more connected individual. Listening is a skill that requires practice and intention, but the benefits are immeasurable. When you talk less and listen more, you not only enrich your own understanding, but also create deeper connections with others. In a world where everyone has something to say, let's be the ones who choose to listen.